Welcome back, wealth creators. This is episode 2 in our series of getting financially fit. And today we're going to follow up on video 1, which is talking about budgeting for our time. And today we're going to go through how to budget our finances. And yes, this is the basics. A lot of people know how to do this. This is for the people that don't. This is for the people that find it hard to stick to their budget or even know how do I start building it out and what goes into it. So instead of explaining it, let's just jump right in. So as y'all can see on the screen, this is a template of what your monthly budget should look like. And we're in September right now. So we're going to do a budget of August and talk about when things should have been done and how do we track it. So as you guys can see, this is something that I do, but I normally write down what is due. And if it's an expense, I will highlight it red. If it's money that's coming in, I will highlight it green. I also separate them just so I can see what's going on. So as you can see, if I calculate it, and this is just a template, just example numbers, but let's say me and my wife, I made $1,800 every 2 weeks and she made $1,900 every 2 weeks. So that would come in at about $7,400 a month, right? So now it's about how do we spend and what do we spend that extra money on? And so here today, we're kind of going to talk about that and some of the more standard bills that most people have: rent, cable, electricity, car insurance, phone bill, car payment, groceries. If you got a pet like we do, dog grooming, right? And 9 out of 10, if y'all have a kid like us, or if you eat crazy like me, you go grocery shopping twice a month. So as you can see, we have it doubled down here. But the goal is to write down everything you spend. And if you're a person that likes to go to the dollar store, Five and Below, Walmart, and spend $15 here, $20 here, things like that, and you don't kind of like tracking the small transactions, what I would recommend doing is give yourself a allotted amount for that month. And so we can call it $200. And all you would do, put it on the last day of the month, because what you would have to do is add up all these amounts at the end of the month to make sure they stand under. But you just put wants, because we all should have our needs, our wants, and the things that make us feel good. And let's say you allocate $200 a month to just buying these things, right? And so that would be an expense. We're going to make that a 200 right there. And as y'all can see, it would just balance out. We would just make sure that we understand our wants is an expense. Let's make sure we highlight that red like the rest of our expense categories, and boom. Okay, so if having small purchases is difficult for you, that's okay. But tracking everything that you do is important. And so now I want to take you guys over to our budget. So now that we know what our income and expenses are, right, we need to see what it would be. How do we lay it out? What would it end up coming to later? And as y'all can see here, there are 3 times where you should be checking your budget. You should be checking your budget on the first of the month, and that's when you're going to fill in all your projected. What are you projected to make for the month? You and your spouse, if you have one, or maybe you just have multiple streams of income coming in. You can put the multiple streams, or it could be a 2-person, and you could just put the total of what you make. But the first thing you want to do is come in and fill in the projected. The actual should not be filled in until after it has actually been paid out, right? Because sometimes we have bills that fluctuate, the amounts are different, and we want to be as close as possible. And with projections, you'll have a lot of round numbers. As you can see here, 1,500, 250, 220. But if you know a phone bill, you might have like 232, right? So with the actual, you actually want to put what it was. You don't want to estimate. So there should be different numbers here. The only reason you see numbers here is because the month of August is done, but also your income is a little bit easier to track because you tend to get less payments per month. And it's either based on your time, your salary, right, or what you have going on. So you can kind of guesstimate that on a consistent basis, so you can fill that in. But it should come from this list, right? And so after rent is paid on the first, now the first of the month is just filling in the projected. I don't want to actually fill anything in until we are in our budget for the 15th, which is the middle of the month. And then what we're doing is we're filling in everything that we actually paid from the 1st to the 15th and its actual spot. So if we paid the mortgage, we would put 1,500. Phone, we will put 250. And I love this template, and you guys will have access to this down in the comments, because as you update it, it shows you real world. As you can see, I put in our rent and the phone bill, and it updated actual income minus expenses was 1,750. As I go in and keep filling this out, it is going to keep updating until everything is a match. This is what we want, right? We want it to be zeroed out in the difference, and we want our actual cost to equal our projected cost or be lower, because that means we're saving on our money, right? And so the whole point of doing this balance is so we can get this amount over here, which, as you guys can see in this example, would be about $2,870 per month. And this balance is the balance difference after you subtract your actual costs. It's going to show you what the percentage is, and you'll be able to make decisions with this 2,800. So with this 2,800, this is the money that we're going to change our lives with. We're either going to invest it in things like real estate, the stock market, crypto, whatever your means of investing is. We're going to put a portion of it into there. We're going to put a portion of it into our savings account, unless you already have 6 to 12 months of your expenses saved up. And you also want to attack your debt. So if you have any school loans, if you have any credit card bills, this 2,800 is what's going to wipe that out. And the more aggressive you can get with putting this to it, then the better the faster your situation will be corrected, right? And so everything is built off of this. Also, our savings, right? If you don't know what your total expense is, and as you can see from the example here, our projected expenses is about $5,000 a month in this example. So being that I know that number now all I have to do to know how much I need to have saved up for 6 months is 6 months of this number, right? As long as my expenses aren't changing. So we will always have slight adjustments, because not all of our expenses are fixed, right? Some of them are variable, right? From electricity and gas to my cable bill is pretty fixed. I pretty much get that. But every once in a while, I'll have a charge here or a discount here. And so sometimes it can come in a little bit cheaper than expected. But the whole goal is to filling out this form. The whole goal is filling out this form and making sure everything is correct. And so this is how you would go through doing your budget. I hope this was easy for you, but I also hope that this extensive budget, as you guys can see, it covers your legal, your gifts and donations, your savings and investment, your taxes, your loans, your entertainment. I want you to give this a true good comb over, so you guys can see what you are truly spending and actually be sticking to these goals. The more detailed that you can be, the better. And I know this tends to be work, or production it gets in the way of that, but having an understanding of what you have to pay, how much money you have, is going to allow you to make fast decisions. And I want y'all to be fast decision makers, because that's going to depend on that return coming back, right? And so with that being said, I hope you guys gain value from today. And don't forget, if you ain't tracking, you ain't trying. See you next time.